From being kicked out of a race to getting his teammate fired, here are 10 things you didn't know about Max Verstappen.
He's gonna make the last step. They have shared a brilliant championship battle.
Now, we all know Max Verstappen was pretty young when he started his F1 career, but he didn't even have a license when he started out. Now, this was going to cause some problems for Verstappen, but he was ready to bribe his driving instructor to get his way. At one point, Max said he had caps and t-shirts ready, just in case he had to bribe someone. But the instructor didn't take the bribe, thankfully. Although his bribe didn't work, he changed the sport forever. After this incident, the Verstappen rule was introduced. According to this new rule, drivers had to be at least 18 in order to be able to race. But that wasn't the only time Max Verstappen made F1 history. Right after his debut in the sport, Max had started to catch everyone's eye with how good he was. He finished 70 at the 2015 Malaysian Grand Prix and even scored points in his second ever race. But after Daniel Kvyat got demoted, Verstappen took his place, and that's when things started to go uphill for one of the youngest drivers in F1. 2016 was his first ever race with Red Bull, and it was going to be a historic one, and he ended up winning the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix. He did all this at just 18 years old, making him the youngest driver to win the F1 Grand Prix. Now, after he won his first Grand Prix at the age of just 18, you'd think everyone and anyone in the F1 community would recognize him whenever they'd see him. Well, that wasn't exactly the case. Max said that back in 2018 at the Singapore Grand Prix, he forgot to bring his pass. When he got to the circuit, security simply refused to let him race because of it. But Verstappen had a great idea that would solve the problem, so he pulled out his phone and Googled his own name. He opened up the images and showed it to the security guard, telling him that he really was a Formula 1 driver and that he had to get on the track. Fortunately, the guard was pretty understanding and let him in. Now, most of us know Max as the Flying Dutchman, but what if I told you that the Flying Dutchman wasn't exactly Dutch at all? See, Max was actually born in Hasselt, Belgium, but it's pretty common for second-generation Belgians to consider themselves Dutch. And according to Max, he just feels more Dutch than Belgian. That doesn't mean that he's trying to run away from being part Belgian, because the driver still does his best to support his country, whether it's through the bright oranges on his helmet sometimes or playing their national anthem. Now, we all know how Daniel Ricciardo left Red Bull for Renault, but not a lot of people know that Verstappen played a huge role in all of this. You see, the two drivers were good friends, on track and in real life, but it all came crashing back in 2018. The famous accident at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix between Verstappen and Ricciardo caused some major problems. It was also the final straw for Ricciardo. The collision was caused partially because of Verstappen being reckless and stubborn when on the track. But Ricciardo didn't really get frustrated with Verstappen. Instead, he didn't like how the management put more blame on him instead of Max, who actually deserved it. Ricciardo felt he was being treated less than Verstappen and decided to walk out. Now, when you look at how successful Verstappen has been in his F1 career, you'd think that he does a lot before getting behind the wheel. But apparently, that's far from what's actually happening. According to Alex Albon, one of Max's former teammates at Red Bull, the racer doesn't let the stress of the competition get to him. He's very calm and collected leading up to races. Albon added that he remembered back when they were teammates, all the other drivers would have been looking at data and preparing in every way they possibly could. But Max would have been relaxing, playing video games. Now, for some of us, driving 100 miles per hour on the freeway is frightening, but it seems like Max is completely focused even at 200 miles per hour. According to his former teammate Albon, Max can just switch parts of his brain off so he can focus more on the thing that's more important. He added an example of how wind or instability can really make some drivers uncomfortable and they make the drivers lose focus. But Verstappen has an ability to switch off his brain when it comes to that. No wonder this guy is on top of the F1. Albon said that this was yet another thing that he really admired about Verstappen. But enough about him behind the wheel. It's time we tell you some little-known facts about the racer's life outside of the cars. Now, Verstappen loves to work out and stay in shape when he's not behind the wheel. He picked this up from his father, who is very keen on physical fitness. So, the way Max stays in shape is by road cycling, along with other workouts that he does. This is one of his favorite hobbies, and he's even made multiple press videos for Red Bull where he's seen cycling. When he's not behind the wheel or out on the street cycling, the driver likes to watch football. In fact, he's a big fan of the sport. In an interview with DAZN, Max said he really loves soccer. The driver added that his favorite teams in Holland had to be PSV Eindhoven. But when we talk about it internationally, he's a big fan of FC Barcelona. Now, we already know Verstappen loves soccer, but since he already has a career in F1, he can't be a footballer too, right? So the best way for him to feel the thrill of football is through FIFA. The driver loves to play video games to kill time, and one of his top picks is FIFA. And he's really good at it too. According to a report from FIFA FootWiz, Max Verstappen, who uses the gamertag CRGBoy007, was in the top 25 players in the world when it came to FIFA Ultimate Team Mode. According to his friends, he spends hours playing the game, and there's no way anyone could beat him at it. Well, you know what they say, practice makes perfect, and Max seems to have hours of it.